One of these times I'm going to spend 10 minutes recording and then realize I didn't hit record. Okay, this is Unit 2, Lesson 3 retrieval in our packet. That is page 26. Okay, first thing we have to do is rewrite each expression using the rules of exponents. If you already remember the rules of exponents, you can speed through this, but if you don't, here's how you can remember. Okay, b to the third is like b times b times b. That's this. B to the fifth is like b times b times b times b times b. Total, that's 8 b's. So I could condense all of this, simplify it, and I could write b to the 8th. So the shortcut rule to remember is if you're multiplying two variables like this, you add the exponents together. You do not have to memorize that because you can always write it all out like this. Okay, number 2, we have n to the third raised to the 4th. So once again, I'm going to expand this out. This is like doing n to the third times itself 4 times. What I remembered in number 1 is that when I'm multiplying variables like this, I can add all of these exponents together. Because this is like 3 n's, 3 more n's, 3 more n's, and 3 more n's. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 12. N to the 12th. So here's the shortcut rule. If you're raising an exponent to another exponent, multiply them together. Last but not least, this time we have a fraction. On the top of the fraction, I have m 5 times. And in the denominator, I have m 8 times. Okay, now what I can do is go through here and cancel out each set of m's. So like m over m, that's just 1. Anything over itself is 1. This m over m goes away, this m over m goes away, and these two go away. So what I'm left with is nothing on the top. Now, don't write 0, because technically, when you have a variable and there's nothing in front of it, technically there's a 1 there. So now that all these m's are gone, we have a 1 in the numerator. And what's left on the bottom is m times m times m, which I happen to know is m cubed. The shortcut rule, subtract. We just did 8 minus 3, and since 8 was on the bottom, where the bigger number was, we put that 3 on the variable on the bottom. Okay, next, find the missing terms of the geometric sequence. Okay, so we're multiplying by something. Looks like we're multiplying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And I'm going from 128 to 4. All right, so I'm going to use the trick we learned in Unit 1. I'm going to take this last number and divide by the first number. Okay, so that's the same as 1 over 32. Okay, now the trick we learned in Unit 1 is we take that number and then we have to take a root of it. Since we're multiplying 5 times, we're going to have to take the 5th root. Okay, when I type that into my calculator, I get 1 over 2. So that means we're multiplying by a half to get from one step to another. So 128 divided by 2 would be 64. Divided by 2 is 32. 16, 8, and then 4. If fractions make you nervous, another way you could have done this is pretended that the table was flipped around. So just pretend that it starts at 4 and goes to 128. Do it exactly like we did in Unit 1, you would get times 2, right? 4 times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32, all the way up to 128, and then you can just fill in the table backwards. Okay, last but not least, we are finding the rate of change. So I'm going to go for rise first. Remember, rate of change is the same as slope. So I'm going to look at my rise. -5 to -1, that would be plus 4. -1 to 5 would be plus 6. And 5 to 13 would be plus 8. Now if you can't do that in your head, that's fine. You would take -1 minus -5 to get the plus 4. 5 minus -1 to get the plus 6. You get the idea. Okay, and then for run, to get from 3 to 5, I'm adding 2. 5 to 8, I'm adding 3. 8 to 12, I'm adding 4. Just going to pick a pair. I'm just going to take the first ones because why not? So that rate of change would be rise 4 over run of 2, and that simplifies to 2. Okay, last but not least, same thing, rate of change, same as slope. So I'm going to think about rise over run. To get from this y to this y, I would take 7 minus 31. And to get from this x to this x, negative 12 minus negative 6. Okay, so 7 minus 31 is negative 24. Minus negative is the same thing as plus. So negative 12 plus 6 would be negative 6. And if I simplify that, I get 4. If your previous teacher used this formula, you could also think of it this way. It's the exact same work I did. I just got the numbers by thinking about rise over run instead of memorizing the formula. But both ways work.